I got the power. We all got the power through the power of the Holy Spirit. 1 Corinthians 2, and this is what you need. See, the reason why I talk about all of this stuff, conspiracy theory, all of this other stuff, Satan is trying to distract us from the real power, right? Satan is trying to distract us from the real power. You know what real bondage is? Real bondage is putting your trust in any system within this world. Any system within this world. This world is a box. You know what science is good. Science is a good thing. There are a lot of people who may not be that educationally sophisticated, right? And they say, oh, we hate science, we hate it. Science is no good. Here's where science is no good, where science is deficient, is to be used as a measure for anything outside of the box, right? For to be used as in other words, science is great to measure the creation that God has given. It's just deficient when it comes to a measure of God. That's where science is bad. And that's what people actually try to do with science. Science is great. You can measure the earth. You can see that water boils at 100 degrees, but you can't find out with science where God comes from. The point being is it's limited. If you trust in the power, Sir Isaac Newton, one of the most greatest minds that's ever lived. Nobody will ever top what he did. It's not even possible. All of our technology, planes being in the skies, the way that we see light, everything, it's because of him in the 16th century. And he was so insistent about talking about God, really so insistent that this great creation, the point that I'm trying to make is this, is that the power that we are to depend on is supernatural power, not power. I'm going to be talking supernatural, because I'm telling you, I'm pushing you away from dependent upon the power in the box. We need to go outside of the box. That's the power. We need power from outside of the box to be able to live successfully within the box, right? And what is a miracle? A miracle is just the intervention of God in the box, right? Just the intervention of God within the box. I know, for example, my son got a miracle. In fact, when he even told me that story, it didn't even make any sense. There's a truck, there's a car coming, you're in the left-hand lane, your car slides all the way over to the barrier. I'm gonna get that picture of that car. If you see this car, you never think a guy just walked away from that a little bit shook up. You know, really, that was it. That song by Elvis, I'm all shook up. That was it. He was all shook up a little bit. That was it. If you see this car, it should have been all crashed up. It is a miracle. We have to get our minds used to depending on miracles. I'm expecting miracle signs and wonders this year. We need to get used to expecting miracles. So looking at our system, our situation, it's this, but God is about to change it. And this talks about the power to do that. So this 1 Corinthians 2, and when I came to you, brothers, I did not come with superiority of speech or of wisdom, proclaiming to you the testimony of God. For I determined to know nothing among you except Jesus Christ and him crucified. I determined not to utilize the power within the box, but to tap into the power outside the box. I was with you in weakness and in fear and in much trembling. What is he doing now? He is deliberately, on purpose, trying to take reliance away from himself. And my message and my preaching were not in persuasive words of wisdom, but in demonstration of the Spirit and of power, so that your faith would not rest on the wisdom of men, but on the power of God. Look what he said. I did not come with this superior speech. I did not come. He was almost determined to just be empty so that God could fill him. Really, we have too much self-reliance. He's talking, I don't want to rely upon myself because I'm limited. You should not be shooting for the ceiling. You should be letting God shoot you to the stars, is what Paul is saying. When I came to you, and here's what Paul is talking about. Paul is talking about 2,000 years ago, this power, what did this power do? This church at Corinth that he's talking about, this power had the power to break down the middle wall of partition. Both Jews and Gentiles, now Gentiles, Jews wouldn't even sit with Gentiles because they considered them to be unclean. So Paul is talking about this power now to bring Jews and Gentiles together. This is the power. Like really, it's dependence upon the Spirit. Christianity is dependence upon the Spirit. It's not dependence upon anything else. It's not dependence upon celebrities, politicians, money, education, all of that. It is dependence upon the Spirit. Really, real dependence upon the Spirit. Because if you depend upon this world system, here's what happens with this world system. If you're dependent upon anything in the box, according to this system of the world, you're in bondage. You are in bondage. I read stories every day about different things, power, politics, global concern, and I see that they're all in bondage. They are all in bondage because they are dependent upon a system that is built upon a lie. They depend upon a system that is built upon lie, but they don't know that they're in bondage. They don't, because they're not tapping into the power outside of the box. They don't know that they're in bondage. And it's important that we know that we are in bondage, really. This is why I talk about politics, not because I care, once again, about how you vote, because I don't want you to be in bondage. And that's what these people are doing. They bring you into bondage. Whether it be money or what? Bondage. Unless it's a tool, unless it's just utilized as a tool in your life, Christ should be the main thing. Really, Christ should be the main thing. And dependence upon the Spirit should be the main concern. This is what Paul is talking about here. When I came to you, I forgot everything. We've seen in Philippians where Paul didn't say, he says, I was a Jew of Jews, circumcised on the 8th day of the tribe of Benjamin, which was a very prestigious tribe in Israel, a Pharisee of Pharisees. In other words, Paul was saying, if anybody wants to brag according to the flesh, I got a better pedigree. But what does he say then? I considered it all trash for gaining Christ, right? He didn't say, I mixed it together with my Christ. No, I considered it all trash, because if you mix things of the Spirit with things of the world, you've just got the world. It cancels it out. It's either or. That's what it is. It's either or. If you bring some world in there, then you've got all world. There's no such thing as, well, it's part Christ, it's part world, part spirit, part world. No, you know why? Because the flesh lusts against the spirit against the flesh. They don't coexist, right? They don't coexist. If you were ever trying to tame the flesh, you're in la la land. You are in la la land. You know, I remember those cowboy movies that I used to watch when I was a kid, when you would see the guy, the cowboy, come out and there's this bucking bronco. Ooh, he's a tough one. Ooh, you gotta break his spirit. You can do that with a bucking bronco. You can tame him. And many of them did. Many, you can never do that with the flesh. It was never ever meant to be tamed. Really, the flesh is a wild beast. It is meant to be under the power of the spirit. Really, if you get your flesh under the power of the spirit, I can literally say all your problems will go away. Really. Will things happen to you? Absolutely, in this world. But if your spirit is in control, you won't look at them as problems. Paul was in prison saying, rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I say rejoice. And he didn't even know what was going to happen to him. He wasn't a problem. They're almost expecting Paul to write a postcard, wish you were here. Right, it's not about your surroundings. When you're tapping into the power of the spirit, it doesn't matter what is happening to you. In fact, actually, nothing needs to even be physically happening to you if your mind is thinking wrong, because you can create problems just in your mind. But when you are relying upon the spirit, there are no problems. It doesn't matter. You know, that is real victory. When you get to this place called it doesn't matter. And real bondage is the place where everything matters. Oh, my word, no, not now. Oh, not this, that. Oh, not that this is going to happen. Oh, my word, no. You have got to get to a place where it doesn't matter. Really, that is the place where you walk in the power of the spirit. There's no anxiety there. There's a peace. There's a joy. See, you know what the world system will tell you? Ah, look at those postcards. Look at those brochures. You got to get to that sunny island. Oh, you got to get that weather. It doesn't matter, the sunny island and the weather. If this stuff is going on in your mind, you might as well be in Alaska in the middle of a snowstorm. Really, it doesn't matter. It's an inside job. This stuff is an inside job. We live inside out. And this is what Paul is saying. He did not come. He came with a demonstration of the spirit and of power. In fact, Paul talks about the thorn in the flesh that he had. And what is God saying to it? My grace is sufficient for you. What does that mean? My spirit, the spirit that is inside of you, is sufficient for you. Really, it is sufficient for you. Right? I remember when I was the first time around my first time in grad school. And I remember I had this car, and the struts had gone. It felt every bump. I'm driving north of Boston. Every single bump got new struts on it, and boom, boy, you don't feel anything anymore. It was a rough ride right now north of Boston. It felt like I've been in the car for hours and hours and hours when I felt every bump. Well, it's like that. When you've got the spirit and you're dependent upon the spirit, you feel nothing. You go through problems and it's like nothing. It is just like nothing. Really, it is absolutely amazing what the Spirit does. And this is why we cannot be tempted into depending on these things, the things of this world. This is why force yourself to constantly work on the inside. This world will try to get you working on your diet, working on your how you look, Botox, whatever, your tan, all of that nonsense. Listen. It's not like God is against that. Here's where God is against that. When that becomes your reliance. So when that becomes your reliance. God isn't against money. God isn't against education. God isn't against it. But he is when they become the things that you depend upon. Really, he is when they become those things, right? The Pharisees, the law was meant to point to Christ. Now here they are worshiping the law so much that they don't even see Christ right in front of them. That's what I'm saying to you. The law, politics, whatever the case, money, education, if that's what you depend on, that will blind you from seeing God. And this is what Paul says. Paul is being deliberate here. Look, he says, I did not come with this superior speech or of wisdom proclaiming to you the testimony, for I determined, he was determined. I was intentional to know nothing among you except Jesus Christ and him crucified. This is what Paul is saying. Determined. That is all I needed to know. No, nothing. Who won that Lakers game? No, Paul didn't know anything. I'm determined to know Jesus Christ and him crucified. Who won the Patriots game? No, nothing else. Really, nothing else. He was so empty. He was so intentional. You know, I have called this for me a year of intentionality. You know why? You know why a year of intentionality? Because so many of us, we live like we're expecting good things to happen to us by accident, right? We're expecting good things to happen by accident. Has anybody ever heard of the term one-hit wonder? Right? We've heard of that term, one-hit wonder, right? I mean, songs. There was a group called Right Said Fred. Is it Right Said Fred? I'm too sexy for my shirt. That's like a one-hit wonder, right? There was that group that did that song, Macarena, right? One-hit wonder. Remember that song? I remember the song when I was a kid, Video Killed the Radio Stars. Anyone remember that? One-hit wonder. That is a hit happening by accident. But when you hear about someone who has been doing something successfully, making music for decades and decades, that's intentionality. That doesn't happen by accident. Consistency doesn't happen by accident, right? By happenstance. You have to be intentional. The successful, abundant life doesn't happen by accident. Right? He should not want to have a victory, sometime in June and celebrate that and then just go back to, mediocrity. No, we should be expecting this abundant life every day. Christ, the Bible says Christ came to give us life and life more abundantly. John 10, verse 10. It's very clear there, meaning that shouldn't happen once in a while. That should not be a one-hit wonder. Oh, wow, I had it. But I remember one time, what a night, back in June. Oh, that was great. No, it should be a consistent thing. A consistent thing. And that's why I said year of intentionality, because it don't want things to happen by accident. When scripture says that we've been given dominion, or we've been re-given it because Adam divested himself of it, right? So when you say we've been given dominion, it means we've been given the power, right, to have victory over our lives each and every day through the power now of Christ's Spirit. So we don't have to be concerned about the wind blowing this way, the wind blowing that way, and it taking our lives away. I remember when I did have this big fear about after I was in the mental hospital, everything, all of the stuff that happened, I was almost terrified. Whoa, what if this happens again? Whoa, what if this happens again? Over the past now 22 years, I've learned that no, it's not like a wind is gonna blow. And I've realized that I have the power, and I've learned to utilize that power to know I'm never ever gonna go back. The only time the car is gonna go in reverse is if I put it in reverse, right? I'm never going back, and my car is in drive. So it's about being intentional, knowing that the power is available, knowing that the intent is there, that is vested with you. So boom, let's drive this thing. Let us now move forward. And just that, knowing that you are not a victim of circumstance. I used to think I was a victim of circumstance. Knowing you're not a victim of circumstance is incredibly empowering. It causes a lot of anxiety, causes all anxiety to dissipate. And it causes this peace to reside. And that's what you want. You want peace to reside. I don't want peace to be a guest. Well, peace came and visited me last week. I wonder when he's coming back. No, I want it to reside. And it's with that peace that Paul is talking about being anxious for nothing. And he's in a very precarious set of circumstances. He's in prison, doesn't know if he's going to be executed, doesn't know if he's going to stay in prison for the rest of his life. But peace will swallow that up. Peace will swallow all of that up. And so this year of intentionality is functioning in power and in peace. You are going to have peace if you have power by virtue of knowing you're empowered and you're not a victim of circumstance. So I don't have to worry about what's going to happen to me because I have the power to remain there. So peace is going to reside, right? And so that peace and that power, now it becomes intrinsic to who you are. This is now how you are living, in peace and in power, right? In peace and in power. And this is what real victory, because you can't really start and say, I'm going to accomplish this, I'm going to accomplish that without it. You can't do it successfully. You have got to have this peace. You have got to have this power, really, this peace and this power. And then when you do, you can start enjoying the process of life. And the process, and as I said, it's a process. It shouldn't be about just achieving goals. Yeah, it's great to achieve goals, but you should not be achieving goals without enjoying the process, meaning, oh, I only have peace and a sense of satisfaction when the goals are achieved. No, you should be also enjoying the process. You should be enjoying the process. One of the things I taught my son is this: You should be enjoying your education. You should be enjoying learning. And I've taught him as well that education should not be something that's just as a function of getting a job. No, you should be enjoying learning things. This is what God has called us to do. It's a process. So I said to him that shouldn't be, school is like a necessary evil. No, they embrace this process. And I say now, embrace life, embrace every day what life learns and how it's shaping you. We should embrace this growth, and every day should be about growth. And when we look at it like that we are getting growth out of every day, that brings a satisfaction, right? That brings a satisfaction, because real life is not about what you have. It's about who you ultimately become. And when you understand that, right, you live life in a different way.